name's Marley Christian. I'm a vet nurse at Friends of the Koala. I came in with conjunctivitis. It was a mild conjunctivitis, so that's all been fixed. But now we're just a little bit concerned about his abdomen, because it's been a little bit bloated and we've managed to get a bit of fluid out from it. So we'll see how we go today, otherwise he'll be released. I started back in 2015. I was in a huge depression, but I had to do something with my life, so I just opened up the yellow pages and I saw Friends of the Koala, and koalas were on my bucket list. So I came in and I joined. They said, you know, I could be a leafer and work in the runs with koalas, so I did.
His eyes look good.
Yeah, they do.
They're great.
Even though they're tiny. I was volunteering. I gave all my time to it because I wasn't able to work at that time because I mentally wasn't fit. Then I wanted to learn more and more, and I came in virtually every day, and then I started studying animal science so I could work and actually help them. So I became a vet nurse, and then eventually IFAW stepped in and wanted to employ me to actually be a vet nurse and be the first vet nurse, or someone paid, in the medical team at Friends of the Koala. He's actually going to be released, so probably tomorrow or the next day. Yeah, his treatment has been a success. We're happy with him.
I went to the first meeting in 1988, my husband and we'd had a koala in our backyard. So we were told by somebody downtown to go to the meeting that they would tell me what trees to plant. They asked John and I, would we be taught how to care for koalas? So all we had to start with was a dugout under our two-storey house, which you had to duck through a door, get under, and then under the front veranda, they put a tree for a koala. And we were only band-aiding, totally band-aiding. There was no cure for things, and cystitis was rife. And so we just made them more comfortable and put them back out.
I've been in veterinary practice in Lismore since the early 1970s. National Parks was doing a good job retrieving injured and sick koalas, but they weren't there for after hours when most of the mishaps with the koalas occurred. I was the only vet in town who lived on the premises, so that enabled me to do any variety of veterinary work, and it freed me to do after-hours work with utmost convenience.
What would you consider the long-term survival of Rita?
I think she's got a good chance of survival. I think she's got a good chance that these wounds are going to heal up and give her 90% mobility. I think she'll be right.
I went 18 years from 1972 till 1990 on call 24/7.
So has she just been trapped because of the eyes, Ina?
Yes, that was the original call out, the eyes. But the bum looked a little bit suspicious, but not sure.
The most common thing that we saw were road casualties or dog attacks. There weren't so many stress-related wet bottom cases back in those days.
She's got food in her stomach.
The worst was not knowing, not having any guidelines to follow with the way you handled the things.
She's got cysts on both sides.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You feel it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And learning as you go, with the koala being the victim of your ignorance. They would bring them to me, I would treat them as I saw fit, and then they would take them home and look after them and do the ongoing treatment.
If you can see here on the ultrasound, the black circles here are cysts which we cannot get rid of, and they just grow and grow and grow, and they multiply, and they can burst, and they're extremely painful. It will come to the stage where they won't be able to move, and they'll just sit and have a really long, painful death.
For her, it's not just that she's got cysts, she's also not coping anymore out in the wild. Her body condition is really poor, she's dehydrated, so she is suffering. So we've put her out of suffering.
So our stats for release, well, it has improved. It used to be 15%, but since we've had the hospital open, we've now been able to release about 30%. So that means there's a huge whopping 70% that don't make it.
I became a fundraiser because we needed to build a hospital. I used to take trees into the centre and sell the trees for 50 cents. Then people would make different things and give to me to raffle. And as fundraiser, I feel great pride in that little building, which has now grown into a big building. And it's just a personal pleasure to see the success of this group today.
The hospital was set up on land that was donated by Southern Cross University in amongst a big plantation of mature eucalypts. In the early days, it was just a hospital. And what it did was to allow the treatment of the animals away from people's houses. That was the limiting factor in where the animals could be held for recuperation. And the hospital was an essential step in allowing the Friends of the Koala to progress to the next level.
When the bushfires started happening, we realised that we were going to have to do something about being prepared to go into the bushfire areas and see if we could save koalas. It was really quite devastating. Bill and I were the ones who did all of the rescues.
We can actually protect this property.
When we drove into this place, it was just absolutely full of forest red gums that had been burnt. And when we got there, I mean, the people had been trying to save their house. There was one koala that was in a tree, and sorry, I get a bit teary about this, but their concern was that this animal would be all right. And this koala was had to be euthanized because while it hadn't been burnt directly by the flames, what we then learnt was the even nastier impact of the fires is that it had baked its insides, the radiant heat. Just the size of the loss, and not just a koalas, was, terrible. 30 billion animals gone. Because of the drought and the bushfires, we had developed very good relationships with WWF and the International Fund for Animal Welfare and IFAW. They took it on themselves very, very generously to fund the vet staff. As a result of that, we then employed a vet as well as a vet nurse.
We just take as little as we can get away with.
We are actually finally going to get the hospital extension that we desperately need at Friends of the Koala. Thank you to the World Wildlife Fund. So we will end up having a new surgery. This room here will be the X-ray room, and then out the back will be extended, so we'll have a larger surgery, we'll have 3 ICU units, and we'll have a post-mortem room as well. Most importantly, we'll also have a lab where we can do a lot more research. It would be a dream come true, and it can't happen quick enough.